This copyrighted telecast of the NBA G League may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA G League.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah, I was building on the lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze us.
After a successful one-game road trip to Iowa, the Austin Spurs are looking to build on their first winning streak of the young season. The Stars, visiting from Salt Lake City, are riding a winning streak of their own and are looking forward to the challenge. A pleasant good afternoon to you. I'm Carl Schoening, along with sideline reporter Alan Zepeda, our director Robert. We're happy you joined us. The Austin Spurs picked up their last 2 games as wins as part of this winning streak, and similarly, the last 3 games of the season, the Salt Lake City Stars have won their 3 games for their current 3-game winning streak, and they're only 3 wins of the season. Tip-off is moments away. Here's a look at the starters: Jarrell Brantley, Trevin Blewett, William Howard, Kyle Collinsworth, Justin Wright Foreman for Martin Schiller's 3-2 Salt Lake City Stars. And then the other way for the home team, the Austin Spurs: Keldon Johnson, Luka Šamanić, Drew Eubanks, Kenny Williams, and Matt Farrell. Tip-off is won by the Spurs. Drew Eubanks knocks it back to Matt Farrell, and Farrell will initiate the offense. Kenny Williams here giving it up to Drew Eubanks at the top of the key. Keldon Johnson on assignment from the Spurs will let Eubanks be isolated on the block, and the left-hand hook rolls off the rim and in for the opening points of the ballgame. Brantley guarded by Johnson. Howard had a notion on the shot. Šamanić closed out on him. Blewett cut off at the elbow, gives it up to Brantley. Brantley has to shoot at the end of the shot clock and can't get the jumper to go. Keldon Johnson with the board, advances it up here to Farrell. Farrell, the only Austin Spur to start all 6 games this season. Johnson was just on this road trip with the San Antonio Spurs, doesn't get his first field goal attempt to fall, and here comes Salt Lake City the other way. Brantley in transition. Gives it up here to Collinsworth, and Kyle Collinsworth out of BYU ties this ball game up at 2. Collinsworth playing for the Texas Legends the past 2 years, now with Salt Lake City. Johnson will use a Eubanks screen, being hounded by Collinsworth. Williams on the left wing with 5 to shoot. Underneath to Eubanks, and a nice dish. Give the assist to Williams, and Eubanks with the first 4 points for the Austin Spurs. Jarrell Brantley here guarded by Williams. Coming up to set a screen is Howard. Howard pops out to the top of the key for a 3, and it's off the inside of the rim. The long rebound bounces out to Williams, and he'll let Keldon Johnson initiate the offense. Šamanić spins into the lane and gets the runner to fall off of the glass. Šamanić puts the Spurs up by 4. The step-back jumper from Wright Foreman off the mark. One of the two-way players here for Salt Lake City, averaging 21 points a game. Doesn't get his 3 to fall, and Austin Spurs the other way, trying to build on their lead. Farrell in the paint. Šamanić in the corner, swings it to Johnson on the wing, who spins into the lane, and the left-hand finger roll is good. Keldon Johnson opens up his scoring, his first 2 there, and taking a page out of Šamanić's books with the spin into the lane. Luka, even though he's almost 7 foot, really good at that move on the drive. Here's Brantley right of the key for 3, and he gets that one to roll in. Early going here, you see the Spurs shooting 4 or 5 from the field. Farrell into the paint. Shot straight away for 3. Yes. Luka Šamanić helping the Spurs continue this hot start. 5 of 6 from the field to start things off here in the first few minutes of the first quarter. Brantley guarded by Williams, works the dribble over to the wing and wants to back down on the smaller Williams now. Shifts to his right hand, and despite the pressure from Johnson on the double team, is able to finish at the rim. Keldon Johnson crossover doesn't go anywhere, and Shamanich will give it up to Williams here. Eubanks trying to post up, dangerous pass and stolen away by Brantley. Here's Brantley into the front court, working against Eubanks in the paint, and he'll be called for the travel as he shifted to his left hand for the layup, and good defense by Drew Eubanks forces the funky footwork. First turnover on the Stars. Spurs get it back here. Farrell will run a set play. Farrell gives a bounce pass to Eubanks, and Eubanks finds Shamanich in the corner. Johnson will fire a three. It's off wide right, but then the Farrell rebound leads to points. Matt Farrell helps the Spurs extend their lead 13-7. The shot by Howard is good. Corner three. Excuse me, that's Blewett. So Blewett gets the jumper to fall. A little hard to read these numbers here as that yellow on white is not much contrast, I should say. Here's Eubanks with a free throw line jumper, and he puts that one in. Drew Eubanks with 6 early points here. About 5 minutes into the start of the game. Collinsworth will use a Brantley screen, and Johnson stays with him. Collinsworth in the paint, too strong on the shot off the glass, rebounded by Shamanich. Farrell surveys the court as he enters the front court. Johnson drives baseline, stops at the block, Eubanks at the elbow, and a foul as Eubanks lost the ball. And that'll take us into our first timeout as Jarrell Brantley picks up his first personal foul. That's the first team foul on Salt Lake City. 6:48 to play in the first quarter. Austin Spurs lead it by 5. We now check in with our second member of the crew, Alan Zepeda. Alan, what's going on?
Or gently use closing for a ticket to today's game. Tomorrow night, the Austin Spurs will be hosting a food bank to benefit the Central Texas Food Bank, where fans who bring in 2 canned goods will get a free ticket to tomorrow night's game. And Karen Week concludes on Black Friday, November 29th, where fans are encouraged to wear black and donate a toy to benefit the Austin Spurs and the NBA G League's Season of Giving. A lot of great events going on at the HEB Center this week. Make sure to check out austinspurs.com for more information. Back to you, Carl.
Thank you, Alan. Yes, we will have a lot more on the NBA Cares Season of Giving. A little bit later, we'll give you more information on all of that, the week of giving. And, just a fun time here in the NBA as we wrap up 2019. Here's some highlights from the first quarter so far as the Spurs lead it by 5. Some early numbers. Jarrell Brantley for the Salt Lake City Stars leads all scorers with 7 points. Trayvon Blewett with 3, and that's the 10 points for Salt Lake City. Spurs pretty balanced. 6 points from Drew Eubanks, 5 points from Luka Shamanich, and 2 apiece from Keldon Johnson and Matt Farrell. Both teams with only 1 turnover, and the Spurs have led the whole game to this point. Blewett, Howard, Brantley, Collinsworth, and Wright Foreman, the 5 on the court for the Stars. Keldon Johnson, Dedrick Lawson in for the first time in for Drew Eubanks, as well as Quindary Weatherspoon, who's in for Kenny Williams, out there with Shamanich and Farrell for the Spurs. Shamanich working with some spacing as Lawson tried to set a screen for him. Instead, Shamanich will back down as he goes into the paint. His shot at the end of the shot clock is good. Luka Shamanich now tied with the game high of 7 points. Spurs lead by 7. Here's Howard working on the left wing. Hands it off to Collinsworth. Howard feeds Brantley. Brantley adjusts his shot as he was fouled. Keldon Johnson will be not the guilty party. Dedrick Lawson is the one whistled for the foul, and it'll be a 2-point free throw coming up for Brantley. Chemezi Metu checking into the game. 6'9", 225 out of USC. Metu on assignment from the Spurs. Checks in for Luka Shaman. Metu heads to the bench. Metu averaging 18 points a game here in Austin. Brantley hits the 2-point free throw, and the Spurs lead cut to 5. Quindary Weatherspoon getting his first touch of the ball game will slowly take it into the front court. Dedrick Lawson sets a pin-down screen for Farrell, who gets the ball. Ball worked over to Keldon Johnson on the right side. Chemezi Metu at the top of the key, gives it right back to Johnson. 5 seconds to shoot for Keldon. Fade away from the left elbow. 14-footer doesn't go. Rebound batted around, and coming the other way for Salt Lake City is Mike Scott. Inside a goaltend as Justin Wright Foreman got to the rim. Chemezi Metu blocked it after it went off of the backboard, and Wright Foreman gets the 2 points. Quindary Weatherspoon shifts gears into the front court and creates space. His shot too strong, but there to clean it up with the follow slam is Chemezi Metu. Chemezi Metu, his first 2 points. Spurs ahead by 5. Mike Scott will let Brantley shoot a 3. And yes, give the assist to Scott, and Brantley hits the 3. Spurs lead cut to 2, and Blake Ahern wants to talk things over. 5:16 left to play in the first quarter. Spurs lead is cut to 2. We'll take the break with them. Be back in a moment on Twitch.
Wow, it's just like I picture it.
Yippee-ki-yay, retired friend. We got coyote roping.
Come on, coyote. Come on, you varmint.
We also have goat yoga. And that's the chips and guac pose.
Wow, looks delicious.
And finally, the Spurs Chug Wagon with all the best HEB Primo picks.
Wow.
Nice chops, Bruce.
Thanks, TP. I made you a natural ribeye, shrimp poppers, and all the fixings.
Nice.
May I present to you your ATV?
The all-Tony vehicle.
Man, Timmy, you made that just for me?
Just for you, buddy.
I love it here.
HEB Primo Picks. Legendary Texas taste for legendary gatherings.
Hey, where's David?
Practicing his axe throwing.
5:16 left to play in the opening quarter, and the Austin Spurs lead it by 2, 19-17. It's been Salt Lake City most recently finding a run to cut the Spurs lead to 2. A lot of action and a high-scoring game so far here in the first quarter. The visiting Salt Lake City Stars very comfortable with the gym so far. They're shooting 60% from the field. The home team, Austin Spurs, even more comfortable, shooting 69% from the field. Out of the timeout, Salt Lake City will bring some full court pressure. Quindary Weatherspoon gives it up to Jeff Ledbetter, and Tevin King will not get that pass in time as Wright Foreman fires a right elbow jumper. Can't get it to fall, and the Spurs avoid the points off turnover. King watching a play develop. Popping out here is Weatherspoon. A lob to the rim for Metu. Metu has to catch it on the adjustment. And here's Tevin King trying to get it to Weatherspoon. Weatherspoon bobbles it out of bounds, and that's a turnover on the Spurs. For the Spurs, that is their third turnover, and no points have been scored by Salt Lake City off of those previous 2 turnovers. Mike Scott gives it up here to Isaac Haas. Back to Scott, and then cross court to Howard. Spurs in a 2-3 zone, and the shot by Scott rebounded by King. Quindary Weatherspoon almost threads the needle, leads to a Spurs turnover instead, and Brantley will take it into the front court after getting the steal. Howard open for 3 on the wing. Yes. William Howard, the forward out of France, puts Salt Lake City ahead for the first time this afternoon. Metu trying to give a backdoor cut pass to Quindary Weatherspoon, and Weatherspoon trying to maybe get freed up on the wing instead. The Spurs getting a little sloppy with the ball. They came into this shift with only 1 turnover. That's turnover number 5. Weatherspoon out of the game, and Dalton Hamas into the game for the Spurs. Here's Scott using a Haas screen, and out to Brantley on the wing. Brantley's 3 at the break is way off the mark. Wide left, doesn't even hit rim. Chimezie Metu faces up against Brantley, isolated on the left side. His shot is good. Chimezie Metu working on that close range jumper, puts the Spurs back ahead, and he's got 4. Lawson and Tevin King trapping Scott, and Scott turns it over on the travel. That's a turnover on Salt Lake City. Their second, and the Spurs scored 2 points off of that previous turnover. So now the Spurs trying to build on their 1-point lead. Dalton Hamas, the corner, Metu. Metu trying to work with bad spacing from Hamas as Hamas is trying to set a screen on Howard. Here's Ledbetter, step back long too, and then he leans into the shot at the end of the shot clock. It's off the mark. Rebounded by Brantley here. Collinsworth had the pass go over his head, but it's tipped to Scott. Howard open for 3. Off the inside of the rim, the high rebound tapped back by Haas and picked up by Howard. Howard drives to the rim and then kicks it out to Scott. Collinsworth finds Brantley at the break for 3. Off the mark, Howard with the offensive rebound, and the quick putback is good. Salt Lake City back ahead by 1. Howard with 5 points. He hit a 3 earlier, and that's his second field goal. Chimezie Metu isolated on the left side. Cutting is Ledbetter, and he lays it in. Nice pass from Chimezie Metu. He gets the assist, and Ledbetter gets on the scoreboard for his first 2. Dedrick Lawson with the steal. Lawson bounce pass ahead to Ledbetter. Ledbetter in transition, behind it back to Lawson. Lawson finishes at the rim. Nice 2-man game on the fast break, and Ledbetter gets the assist this time, allowing Dedrick Lawson to score. Lawson with his first 2. Collinsworth. Here's Scott, and Scott traveled with it before he made his move. Ben Levy and Pryor checking into the game. Malik Ben Levy, 6'5", 225 out of Georgia State, and Rodney Pryor, 6'5", 205 out of Georgetown, in for the Stars. Here's Tevin King for Austin. Chimezie Metu. Dedrick Lawson tries the 3, and he connects. Dedrick Lawson has been fire from deep. Lawson shooting 50% coming into the game, 6 of 12, makes it 7 of 13 on the season. Ben Levy surveying the Spurs defense and shoots over it. Long rebound grab by Tevin King. Stars do a good job getting back. King shovels it to Ledbetter. Ledbetter takes it to the baseline and makes a skip pass to Lawson. Lawson knocks down back-to-back 3-pointers. Dedrick Lawson now with 8 points, and he is 8 of 14 from three-point land on the season. He's really showing his range as a floor spacer. Collinsworth drives middle. Pryor at the 3. Doesn't get it to go, and Tevin King fights for the rebound, lobs it ahead to Hamas. Hamas has it knocked away, but gets it back, and King will find Ledbetter open for 3 on the wing. Off the back of the rim and rebounded by Collinsworth. Trying to get it to the corner, passed it a little behind Pryor, and Pryor was unable to save it from going out of bounds. The turnover gives the ball back to the Spurs, who find themselves with the opportunity to take a double-digit lead. About a 4-second difference between shot clock and game clock, so Blake Ahern wants things to slow down. Spurs will take what could potentially be the final shot. Dedrick also will come to set a screen here for King. King goes away from it and tries to hit Lawson, who faded away to the top of the key. Now Lawson open for 3. He tries the 3 despite the closeout from Scott at the end of the shot clock, and it's rebounded by Haas. In the front court, Pryor tries the 3 at the game clock buzzer. It's no good, and at the end of 1, The Spurs lead the Salt Lake City Stars 31-22 here on Twitch.
This league was built to break. Built to break new ground, break molds, and shatter expectations. Built to break the idea of what it means to grow and to change. Change minds. Change the game. This league was built to break.
And you're missing it? That last one was for you.
12 minutes complete here in Cedar Park, Texas, the HEB Center at Cedar Park. The Austin Spurs lead it over Salt Lake City 31-22 in an entertaining first quarter. The Spurs did it with a well-balanced attack, leading the Spurs in scoring off the bench. Dedrick Lawson with 8 points. Lucas Shamanich had an early 7. 6 points for Drew Eubanks, 4 points for Chimezi Metu, and 2 apiece for Keldon Johnson, Matt Farrell, and Jeff Ledbetter. As you see some highlights, it has been a good shooting performance for the Spurs, who have worked above 30% on the season after a slow start. They are shooting 3 of 6 on this ball game. On the other side, Salt Lake City, the leading scorer of the game is Jarrell Brantley with 12, and he's the only player in double figures. 5 points from William Howard, 3 from Trayvon Blewett, 2 from Justin Wright Foreman, and that is your 22 points for the visiting Salt Lake City Stars. They shoot 40% in the first quarter and go 4 of 12 from deep. Salt Lake City wearing the white will have possession here. Start things off. It's Wright Foreman giving it up to Brantley. And then knocking down the 3 is Malik Ben-Levy. And that cuts into the Spurs lead. Ledbetter looking for some room to operate. Gives it up to Tevin King, who tries a 3. Even though it was contested by Wright Foreman, King knocks it down. Tevin King shooting 37.5% from deep. So that adds on to his stellar percentage so far. And then on the other way, Blue can't get a 3 to go, and then Brantley can't get the follow tip. Ledbetter takes it the other way. Hamas drives baseline, stops at the 15-foot mark, and gives it up to Chimezi Metu. Metu trying to back down. Hamas finds Lawson underneath, and Lawson with the close range right-hand baby hook. Give Hamas the assist, and Lawson breaks double figures. He has 10. Wright Foreman at midcourt being hounded by King. Here's Ben-Levy guarded by Dedrick Lawson. Pryor jab steps against Hamas, backs up, 5 seconds to shoot. Into the corner, a 3-ball on the way, left short by Brantley, but a 14-second reset on the offensive rebound by Pryor, and then Ledbetter whistled for the foul. For Jeff Ledbetter, that is his first personal, the first team foul on Austin. Substitutions. Spurs will bring in a line change here as Hamas, Lawson, King, Ledbetter, and Metu all check out. So the new 5 on the court for the Spurs. Oh, Ledbetter didn't get the memo that he's staying on the court. Okay, I was about to say. So Ledbetter is still on the court. Eubanks, Quindary Weatherspoon, Lucas Shamanich, and Matt Farrell, the 5 for the Austin Spurs in black. Wright Foreman kicks it out, and Ben-Levy's 3 off the mark, rebounded by Eubanks. Matt Farrell uses a Eubanks screen, a rescreen from Eubanks, and then a foul called, I believe, Pryor there with the wraparound. Pryor picks up his first personal foul, the second team foul here in the second. You see that wraparound. And that leads to the Spurs getting 14 seconds on the shot clock here. Weatherspoon around a Eubanks screen. And Shamanich will take the pass on a bounce. Lost the handle, gets it back. Turned around jump shot from the baseline is off the mark. And Brantley with the rebound gets it ahead to Blewett. And Blewett was on the sideline when he caught the pass. That's a turnover on Salt Lake City. Spurs lead it by 11. And now Keldon Johnson will tag out Jeff Ledbetter. Johnson out there with Shamanich, Weatherspoon, Farrell, and Eubanks. Right Foreman, Garden, Farrell. Weatherspoon finds Johnson on the wing around the Eubanks screen. Johnson in the paint, and his shot is left short. He almost got his own offensive rebound, something he's good at. He had it knocked away from him. And the Spurs will get 14 seconds on the team offensive rebound, as Pryor was the last one to touch that. Farrell inbound on the baseline. Finds Johnson cut into the basket and curling around that Eubanks screen. Eubanks was able to find a lane and tip that one back in after the miss from Johnson. Right Foreman, guarded by Shamanich, drives baseline. The corner three off of the mark, and the Spurs looking for the rebound will be fouled as Blewett couldn't get the three to go. It was Right Foreman aggressively going after Quindary Weatherspoon. Another look at it here as Weatherspoon got knocked from the side there. Shamanich can't get the finger roll to go off the high part of the glass. Here's another lob to the rim, and Eubanks is fouled on his way to the bucket. He'll be shooting a free throw worth 2 points. Well, I thought it would be in the act of shooting. Eubanks had the ball when he got fouled and was going to the rim, but instead Brantley's foul, his second personal and the third team foul in Salt Lake City, will lead to a Spurs side out. So I guess they called it on the act of the pass and not on the act of the shot. Eubanks will give it to Farrell here. Farrell with 8 to shoot. Shamanich in the corner for 3. Doesn't go, but then the rebound off the fingertips and out of bounds by Right Foreman, and the baseline inbounds with 14 seconds on the shot clock for Farrell. Farrell looking for a pass. Finds Weatherspoon on the sideline. Eubanks into the lane with a high hook, couldn't get to go, and the rebound goes out of bounds. This time last touch by Weatherspoon, and Salt Lake City with the ball. Trailing by 13 with 8:45 to play in the second. Deontay Burton into the game. Brantley into the paint. And Brantley is fouled by Eubanks. He'll go to the line and shoot a 2-point free throw. Eubanks picks up his first personal, the second team foul on Austin. Looking to cut into the Spurs' double-digit lead is Brantley. Jarrell Brantley hits the free throw. He is an 83% free throw shooter on the season, and then whistle on a foul before the inbounds. That'll be a 1 free throw shot for 1 point here. That goes against Malik Ben Levy, his first personal foul. 4th team foul on Salt Lake City, so Austin will be in the bonus next personal foul by Salt Lake City. That's loose ball or defense. Eubanks can't hit the 1-point free throw, and the Spurs will have another opportunity to inbound it. They'll have to go length of the court. So again, with the full court pressure, Salt Lake City trying to get a steal. They were able to get a steal earlier, weren't able to convert and lead to points. If anything else, this changes up the Spurs' passing lanes. Shamanich gets it at midcourt. Eubanks surveying the court, whips a pass down low to Farrell, and Farrell doesn't get it to go. The follow by Weatherspoon knocked off the rim, and rebound cleared here by Ben Levy. Burton tries hesitation move. He won't shake Weatherspoon and gives it up to Right Foreman around a screen by Ben Levy. Farrell stays with him. Ben Levy guarded by Šamanić. 5 seconds to shoot. Ben Levy cuts off at the block, and then Šamanić contests the shot well. The rebound cleared by Eubanks. Farrell goes away from Šamanić's screen. He's at the break. Šamanić around to Eubanks' screen. To the left block. Weatherspoon steps into a baseline jumper around the rim. Šamanić's tap, offensive rebound follow doesn't result in points, and Brantley will push the break the other way. Underneath, Pryor with the layup, and the Spurs lead is cut to single digits. Weatherspoon will use Šamanić's screen into the front court. Around to Eubanks' screen this time. Pocket pass to Eubanks, who lays it up with the left hand off the glass. Drew Eubanks with 10 points as he enters double figures. He's averaging 14, so he's well on his way to meeting that. The post up here by Brantley against the smaller Weatherspoon. Ben Levy left to the key, 3 is good. Luke Ben Levy there with the 3-pointer to make it an 8-point ball game. Weatherspoon steps on the sideline as he was dealing with the contact of the defense from Pryor. That's a turnover on the Spurs and a timeout on the floor. 6:49 left to play in the second quarter. The Austin Spurs lead it by 8 here on Twitch, 40-32. We'll be back with more G League basketball from the HEB Center at Cedar Park.
This game has the power to pull you in. All it takes is one incredible moment. It can happen anytime, in any city, on any night. And once you've witnessed what's possible, you can't wait to see what's next. Watch the NBA live.
This league was built to break. Built to break new ground, break molds, and shatter expectations. Built to break the idea of what it means to grow and to change. Change minds. Change the game. This league was built to break.
6:49 left to play in the second quarter. The Austin Spurs lead at 40-32. It's been a fun basketball game here, competitive between both teams. The Spurs' largest lead is 13. Early on, there was a seesaw battle with the lead where the Stars led it by 1. That's their largest lead of the ball game. There have been 4 lead changes. The Spurs were able to get it to 13 at one point, and here Salt Lake City has brought it to 8. Howard will do the inbounding here against Luka Šamanić. Brantley, who leads all scorers with 14, hands it off. Collinsworth hesitates at the top of the key, gives it up to Burton, and now the ball worked to the corner. The 3 ball off the mark by Ben Levy. Rebound batted around, grabbed by Eubanks, and then his pass was deflected by Howard, stolen away by Howard. Howard works to the baseline. He's cut off by Šamanić. Collinsworth rotates it to Brantley. Here's Collinsworth crossing over Keldon Johnson. Burton. Deontay Burton doesn't get the runner to fall, and then Collinsworth taps the rebound in the air. Keldon Johnson clears the rebound. Johnson picks up a blocking foul as the aggressive defense from Deontay Burton leads to a whistle of some kind. Burton wanted the offensive foul, but he was playing way too close to Keldon Johnson there and was moving while Johnson was trying to go in a certain direction. Sometimes that can be an offensive foul, but Johnson gets the benefit of it out this time. Good call there by Julian Scott, our umpire who was there to catch it. Our referee is Tyler Ricks, and our crew chief is Robert Hussey today. 6:11 to play till halftime. Keldon Johnson sort of operating the 1 in the offense at the moment, gives it up here to Farrell. Eubanks surveys the court, and Šamanić gets it at the left elbow, fakes a pass, and Bounce pass to Keldon Johnson. Johnson elevates for the slam. Spurs lead it by 10. Keldon Johnson with his second field goal. He's got 4. Brantley working against Eubanks. Pulls the dribble back. Brantley gets a fresh dribble working against Eubanks. Headed steam to the rim. Doesn't get it to go. Too strong on the shot. Weatherspoon finds Farrell in transition. Pull-up three-pointer. Around the rim doesn't go. And then the rebound goes out of bounds. Last touch by Weatherspoon, who was crashing the board for the rebound. Diedrich Lawson and Chimezi Metu into the game as we take another look at the dunk from Keldon Johnson. Burton calls out for a horns play. Hostel comes set it. Doesn't get developed before Brantley sets up his screen, and then a foul as Farrell was getting a little too handsy on Burton. Farrell picks up his first personal foul. It's the 13th foul, and yeah, a little bit too much shoulder-to-shoulder contact there by Farrell, and he gets whistled for the foul. Ledbetter checks in for Weatherspoon. Haas protects his dribble. Gives it up here to Burton. And goes away from the Haas screen, and then a travel called on Brantley as he tried to make a move to the rim from the wing. .5:14 left to play in the second, and the Spurs lead it by 10. Keldon Johnson will inbound it here for Farrell. Salt Lake City playing a lot of full-court defense, trying to knock the half-court-oriented Spurs offense off of their general passing lanes being set up. Here's Chimezi Metu. Metu at the free throw line gets Brantley off his feet, and then the 15-foot jump shot gets the kind roll. Chimezi Metu with 6 points for the Austin Spurs, and the Spurs lead it by 12. Howard operates the dribble around a Haas screen down the left lane line, and his finger roll off the glass and in. Howard with 7 points now for the Stars. Chimezi Metu for Keldon Johnson here. Lawson gives it up to Farrell. Farrell gets the defense to collapse on him and then knocks down the shot in the paint. Farrell with 4 points to match his jersey number. Burton in the lane. Lobs it for Haas, who couldn't get the tap in. Keldon Johnson lobs it to Ledbetter. Johnson drives to the left lane line. He's cut off, but still puts the shot up and in. Brantley hands it off to Collinsworth, who tries a three. Around the rim, no good. Rebounded by Lawson. Lawson, one of the best rebounders in the G League, averaging 10 a game, and he led the American Athletic Conference twice in rebounding and the Big 12 last season in rebounding. Chimezi Metu power dribble to the paint and lost the handle, picked up by Johnson. Ledbetter steps into a mid-range jumper and hits. And a timeout by Martin Schiller and the Salt Lake City Stars as the Spurs open up a 50-34 advantage with 3:30 left to play in the second quarter here on Twitch.
Hey! Oh, I'm so sorry.
The basketball world has been turned upside down.
Oh, do you believe that one?
Now, it's anyone's game. Some are looking to make a memorable entrance.
Irving puts it up.
Others want to prove they never left.
Siakam, it's gone.
And everyone has a chance to reach new heights. The time has finally come to see who will rise.
Finishes ferociously.
Watch the NBA Live.
3:30 left until halftime. The Austin Spurs lead at 50-34 over the Salt Lake City Stars. Here's a look at some highlights as the Austin Spurs been filling it up. A Keldon Johnson dunk Chimezi Metu gets the kind roll here. And let's not forget the nice finger roll by Howard and the push shot there by Farrell. Spurs come back out with Ledbetter, King, Metu, Lawson, and Johnson. Collinsworth, Haas, Burton, Howard, and also Trayvon Blewett for Salt Lake City. Haas back to the basket, guarded by Lawson. 10 seconds, Haasen gets fouled on his way to the rim. Shot doesn't go, but Haas will shoot a 2-point free throw. Lawson picks up his second personal foul, a fourth team foul on Austin. They'll look at that foul as Lawson tried to knock it away from the side and was late contesting the shot. The 2-point free throw is good for Isaac Haas. And if you're wondering how big Isaac Haas is, he's listed at 7'2", 290 out of Purdue. Tevin King. Johnson looking for the Metu post up as King cuts through. Dedrick Lawson will try a three. Yes, Dedrick Lawson. Almost like he can't miss from outside off of the bench. He's now 3 of 4 from deep. The handoff to Blewett, knocked away, but he gets it right back. Here's Haas underneath the basket, and Haas misses the first shot, gets his own miss. Metu gets the defensive board. King picks up his dribble. Metu fakes the three. Wanted to drive on Haas, instead gives it up to Ledbetter. Haas with the board. Collinsworth into the paint. Gets it to Howard, and Howard has his shot blocked. The ball underneath, recovered by Howard. Dedrick Lawson with a nice defense. Then Ledbetter deflects the pass stolen away by King. Here's Johnson in transition, and Johnson lays it in. Keldon Johnson with 8 points. 55-36, Spurs lead it by 19. Here's Howard's three-pointer. He banks it in, and the foul on King. It'll be a 4-point opportunity. King with the aggressive closeout. Yeah, that was a foul all the way, and then that shot was so far off that it was in. He obviously didn't mean to bank it in, but Howard will have an opportunity for a 4-point play here at the line. And William Howard hits the free throw. Spurs lead cut to 15, under 2 to play until halftime. King gives it up to Lawson, who fakes the three, drives down the lane line, and he's fouled by Howard. Howard says his hands are straight up. We're going to see the replay on that, and that was not the case, as Lawson will go to the line to shoot a free throw. Howard leaning into it, and you know, that was actually a lot closer than it looked like from my angle, but obviously still good job by Lawson to initiate some contact, and the foul goes against Howard, and the free throw misses, so Lawson does not convert the 2-point foul shot. Here's Mike Scott. Blewett goes around the Haas screen, lobs it to Haas, who jumps above everybody, and he doesn't have the highest vertical, but he does have the highest reach, and he's able to complete on the field goal. Lawson kind of posting up 40 feet from the basket. Ledbetter gives up to Johnson. Johnson drives inside. Johnson draws contact, no whistle, and the rebound on the floor picked up by Haas. Blewett can't get it to roll, but he will go to the line to shoot a free throw for 2. Foul goes against Tevin King. King picks up his second personal foul. Another look at that as Blewett does a good job protecting the ball, and then a little too strong as he was pushing the pace. Can't get the friendly roll as it rolls off the rim. But Trayvon Blewett will go ahead and shoot the free throw. And the Spurs lead cut to 11. It was once 19. King gets it ahead to Lawson. Keldon Johnson at the break. Johnson will pull back out here. Metu. Tevin King tried to get it to Ledbetter. Blewett with the steal. Blewett in transition protects the shot around the defense of Johnson and lays it in. Nice play there by Blewett, as Trayvon Blewett has provided a little bit of offense here as he found himself with 7 points. Metu pump fakes Haas off his feet, and Haas lands into him, but not enough for the official to call a foul, and then he passes it out of bounds trying to get it to Johnson. So the Spurs lead that was once 19, now 9. And about 2 seconds difference between shot clock and game clock. Mike Scott will let this shot clock burn down. Haas will set a screen on King. Collinsworth's corner three off the mark. King with the rebound. He has 4 seconds. King gets the shot off. It doesn't go, and that will end the first half. So your score, the Austin Spurs 55, the Salt Lake City Stars, who once trailed by 19, have cut it to 9. And we're going to see if we can get an interview with Martin Schiller, the head coach of the Salt Lake City Stars, as he's about to head to the bench and see if Alan Cepeda can track him down, and he'll have to be a little more aggressive. I'm giving a little play-by-play of something you can't see. Unfortunately, there was also an injury on the court as Howard there, William Howard, had to be helped off the court, as you saw on your screen. And I'm going to guess that we will not get Martin Schiller, so we'll go ahead and take the break here at the end of the half. So 55-46, the Austin Spurs with a 9-point lead. We'll be back with some statistics here at halftime. Don't go anywhere on Twitch.
I came here to work with Tony was one of my main objectives. So it was a turning point for me in my coaching life. But for Tony, it was that next step that he needed. He wanted to be the pretty good, the great, the all-star, the champion.
The key word, obviously, is discipline. Discipline, never be satisfied. I was a big student of the game. I watched a lot of film.
The time that he and Chip put in together had a big impact on the longevity of his career and the effectiveness of his career. And Chip and Tony worked really well together, spent a great deal of time, and deserves a lot of credit for Tony's growth. But Tony participated in his own success as well.
He didn't overwork. He worked smartly, had a good plan, willing to try some things that were different in his shooting. It's one of the hardest things to do. It's self-improvement. And he looked in the mirror and said, I'm going to get better at this. And he succeeded in grand fashion.
I think we've got a good group here on Saturday for the NBA.com Top 10 Plays. And we get it started with Thomas Satoransky of the Bulls in transition for a one-hand flush. We've got a lot more from this game coming up later. But at number 9, raise your hand if you've seen this before. LeBron James stepping in a passing lane. One dribble from the half-court line is all he needs to get a flush on the other end. Tyus Jones, the man who threw the pass that would lead to a turnover. Yeah, he just lets LeBron do his thing. At number 8, is there any big man in the NBA with better footwork than Joel Embiid? He makes more opposing big fellas look silly. He gets wide open with a blow-by on Myers Leonard at number 8. Number 7, Donovan Mitchell showing off his core strength with a rebound and the two-handed outlet pass up ahead to Bojan Bogdanovic for the slam. Donovan Mitchell. This is the first of his plays on the countdown. Jabari Parker coming in at number 6, just throwing down on Toronto. Get out of my way! Jabari for the slam. At number 5, Giannis Antetokounmpo making his way into the countdown, as he likes to do. The lob from Eric Bledsoe. Giannis, the one-handed catch and finish. At number 4, to be young again. Trae Young from the logo. When did the logo 3 become the new norm? It's like anything inside the logo is just too easy. Trae had himself a triple-double on Saturday. Terry Rozier, lobbing. It's another Monk dunk. Malik Monk, you know the shooting stroke. But look at the hops from Malik on this play. Rozier happy about it. Monk a little more stoic afterwards. At number 2, oh, look out. Spider-Man is in the building. Donovan Mitchell on the lob from Joe Engels. Look at Mitchell just cock this one back and throw it down on Nicolo Melli. Leaving Melli smelly because Donovan Mitchell did him dirty. But at number 1, we go back to the Chicago Bulls, down by 2 in the closing seconds, stealing the inbounds, and Zach LaVine. The game winner is good. That is just one of 13 of his three-pointers on the night. He, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the only men in NBA history to have 13 or more threes in a game. He had a career-high 49. He could have gone for the tie right there when he gains possession, but the way he was firing from distance, let's take it back behind the line.
Wow, HEB seafood is really good. I love the fresh salmon.
Yeah, I could eat these bacon-wrapped shrimp poppers and scallops all day. Sushi is my favorite.
Hold up, I just thought of an idea for a new HEB seafood commercial. Ahoy, mateys! Guess me favorite letter. R! No, a power's first love is the sea. Are you out of your mind? Probably.
HEB Seafood and Sushi. Guaranteed freshness. That's our hook.
Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
You can discover the adventure of Frozen 2 with the goodness of milk, apple slices, and an enchanting toy inside every McDonald's Happy Meal. Disney's Frozen 2 in theaters November 22nd, rated PG.
Hey!
Oh, I'm so sorry.
About 10 minutes left in halftime here. The Austin Spurs lead at 55-46. I'm Carl Schoening. Happy you guys joined us here on Twitch. Let's get to some statistics here between the two teams. Spurs leading it by 9. Their largest lead was 19. Salt Lake City and the Spurs have exchanged leads 4 times, and the Austin Spurs have held that largest lead for Salt Lake City to 1. You see the three-point differential. The Spurs have made fewer shots, but on 10 fewer attempts. So that three-point percentage right where the Spurs won it. The free throw disparity, Salt Lake City's gotten to the line 4 more times, and they've obviously made 4 more free throws, as you see. And the Spurs doing what they do, always one of the better rebounding teams. And the turnover battle almost even with the Spurs with 1 more turnover. Here's some highlights as I go over some individual scores. Leading all scores off the bench for the Spurs, Dedrick Lawson. He has 13 points, matching his average. He also has a rebound and a steal to go along with those 13 points. He was 5 of 6 from the field, and he made 3 of his 4 three-point attempts. Also scoring in double figures, Drew Eubanks. He has 10 points in 10 minutes on 5 of 6 shooting from the field with 3 rebounds and +6 on the plus-minus. That does it for Spurs double-figure scores. 8 points from Keldon Johnson, 7 points from Luka Šamanić, 6 points from Chimezie Metu, 4 points from both Matt Farrell and Jeff Ledbetter, and 3 points from Dalton Thomas. The other way for the visiting Salt Lake City Stars, they're led in scoring by Jarrell Brantley. Brantley has 12 points. He's the only scorer in double figures for Salt Lake City. Off of the bench, having a pretty solid game, is Isaac Haas. He has 9 points. 6 points for Malik Finley off of the bench. 7 points from Trayvon Blewett. 8 points from William Howard. 2 points from Rodney Pryor, and 2 points from Justin Wright-Foreman. And you can expect Justin Wright-Foreman to have a much more productive second half. He averages 21 points coming into this ball game and shooting from the field, 52%, but so far the two-way player for the Jazz is 1 of 5 in 15 minutes. Well, we're about 6.5 minutes away from the second quarter. It's 55-46, and when we come back, Alan Cepeda will be joined with Spurs head coach Blake Ahern. I'm Carl Schoen, and you're watching the Austin Spurs versus the Salt Lake City Stars on Twitch. Keep it tuned in for the start of the second half.
The basketball world has been turned upside down.
Oh, do you believe that one?
Now, it's anyone's game. Some are looking to make a memorable entrance.
Irving puts it up.
Others want to prove they never left.
Seattle. It's good.
And everyone has a chance to reach new heights. The time has finally come to see who will rise.
Finishes ferociously.
Watch the NBA Live.
Welcome to the Cooking with the Spurs podcast.
Today's guest chef is Coyote, here to cook a meal.
Looks like Coyote sauteing some garlic, some onions, and some other stuff. That's a lot of smoke.
Does anyone else smell burnt fur?
Coyote should have just grabbed one of HEB's Meal Simple option.
Yeah, those tasty meals would be nice right about now.
When life gets crazy, keep it simple. HEB Meal Simple. Chef-inspired meals ready in minutes.
You all right there, buddy?
This league was built to break. Built to break new ground. Break molds. And shatter expectations. Built to break the idea of what it means to grow. And to change. Change minds. Change the game. This league was built to break.
This copyrighted telecast of the NBA G League may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA G League.
Ooh, you taking orders?
Nope. It's a petition to get HEB Natural Beef named as the world's 8th natural wonder.
Wow, is that good?
Only one way to find out.
Is this volcano still active?
Nah, it's retired, but I hear it left it all on the field.
HEB Natural Beef. No antibiotics, added hormones, or artificial ingredients ever.
All on the field. I just got that.
All right, we're now joined by Spurs coach Blake Ahern. Blake, you guys shot 57% in the first half. What'd you see out there?
I thought we moved the ball well at times. It stuck, a little bit. We got a lot of guys, but I think for the most part, we're trying to share it, and I think our defense led to offense for the majority of the time.
They went on a little run there to close out the second half. What do you guys got to do to finish them off?
I think just take better care of the basketball, taking better shots. When our defense is set, we're pretty good, but the last 3 minutes, we hurried. We didn't take great shots, and, against a good team, it's going to lead to opportunities for them.
Absolutely. Thanks. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Spurs lead this one 55-46 as we get ready for the third quarter. Back to you, Carl.
Thank you, Alan. Yes, an interesting note there by Coach Blake Ahern. Only 9 assists on Spurs, 25 made field goals. So something to watch in the second half to see if the Spurs ball movement can maybe lead to more open shots. About 2.5 minutes until the start of the third quarter. Keep it tuned in here on Twitch.
The basketball world has been turned upside down.
Oh, do you believe that one?
Now, it's anyone's game. Some are looking to make a memorable entrance.
Irving puts it up.
Others want to prove they never left.
Seattle. It's good.
And everyone has a chance to reach new heights. The time has finally come to see who will rise.
Finishes ferociously.
Watch the NBA Live.
Wow, HEB seafood is really good. I love the fresh salmon.
Yeah, I could eat these bacon-wrapped shrimp poppers and scallops all day. Sushi is my favorite.
Hold up, I just thought of an idea for a new HEB seafood commercial. Ahoy, mateys! Guess me favorite letter. R. No. A power's first love is the sea.
Are you out of your mind?
Probably.
HEB Seafood and Sushi. Guaranteed freshness. That's our hook.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
About a minute until the start of the second quarter. The Austin Spurs lead it by 9 over the Salt Lake City Stars. Winning streaks at stake here. The Spurs have won their last 2. The Salt Lake City Stars have won their last 3. Both of these winning streaks are the first wins of the season for these two teams. So they're trying to really get it rolling and keep that momentum going on this young season. Blewett, Brantley, Howard, good to see he's okay. He took a fall at the end of the first half. Wright, Foreman, and Collinsworth, the 5 out there for Salt Lake City. They're wearing the white jerseys. The other way for the Spurs, Kenny Williams, Drew Eubanks, Matt Farrell, Luka Shamanich, and Keldon Johnson, the 5 on the court. They're wearing black, the traditional color for the Spurs Sports and Entertainment Clubs. Here's Collinsworth, the opening possession of the second half. Blewett around to Brantley's screen, gives it up to Collinsworth. Howard fading to the top of the key. Good close up by Shamanich to keep the three-pointer away. Blewett around to Brantley's screen and then dunking it down. A nice roll to the basket, and Jarrell Brantley continues his hot scoring. He is 14 on 5 of 9 shooting now. Spurs first possession of the second half. Shamanich on the paint. Lost the handle and gets it back here to Williams. Shamanich deals with a low bounce pass, and then it's stolen away by Howard. Turnover on the Spurs. Howard takes it the other way. Can't get the layup to fall, and then Farrell, fighting for the rebound, is able to tip it out to only where he can get it, and the Spurs avoid points off turnovers. That's their 10th turnover on the game on that previous mishap. Eubanks tries to get it to Shamanich, and Shamanich deals with a bullet pass that goes off his thumb. He's shaking it off, and here the other way in transition. The shot no good by Foreman Wright. Keldon Johnson pushes the break. And a foul here will be whistled against Howard, I believe. Yeah, Howard picks up the personal foul. His first and the first team foul on Salt Lake City here in the third. Maybe not the best angle there between a couple bodies, but the foul there committed by Howard. Shamanich tries a 3. That one glances off the rim, and Blewett will allow it to go on to the baseline for a team rebound. Somebody had to help him out, and Kyle Collinsworth takes the ball. Blewett. Collinsworth gives it up to Howard, and no hesitation. Howard knocks down the 3 over the Shamanich defense. Spurs lead cut to 4. Spurs looking for their first field goal of the second half. And a foul called off the ball. I believe being held up was Farrell by Wright Foreman. Chimezi Metu will check in for the Spurs. Metu on assignment. He was assigned today with Keldon Johnson. Eubanks gives it back to Johnson. Johnson takes contact and loses the ball, and Brantley takes it the other way. Swing pass to the corner. Collinsworth, his 3 off the mark. Matt Farrell around a Metu and Eubanks screen. Metu open for 3 on the wing. It's off the front of the rim and rebounded by Howard. Brantley down the left sideline. Backing down against Johnson. Tries to muscle his way to the rim, and the shot is short. Rebound hit in the air. Kenny Williams will claim it. Farrell down the right sideline, looking for Eubanks post up. Eubanks takes it about 20 feet away into the middle of the paint. It's Metu, and Metu gets the short shot. Give the assist to Eubanks. Spurs finally get their first points of the third quarter, and they lead it by 6. Wright Foreman gives it up to Howard here. Wright Foreman sizing up against Metu. Step back three-pointer off the back of the rim, and getting the rebound is Williams. Farrell works it to the baseline. Eubanks at the block. Can't get it to rattle. It goes in and out on him. Blewett's three. Yes. In transition, a nice assist there by Wright Foreman. He has confidence in his shooter, and the three-pointer knocked down by Trayvon Blewett. Eubanks fires a pass to Williams on the baseline. Kelton Johnson pulls back. He has 5 to shoot. Eubanks at the left elbow. Metu, baseline jumper at the shot clock buzzer, doesn't go, and then Metu almost got his own miss, and it was knocked away by Blewett. Howard picks it up. Metu runs into Howard, and Chemezi picks up the personal foul, his first personal, and the first team foul on Austin. Salt Lake City can tie it up here. Wright Foreman. Here's Howard on the wing. Hands it off to Collinsworth. Wright Foreman gets it back around a Brantley screen, guarded tightly by Williams. Into the paint. A high arcing shot, trying to sell the foul, and then that goes off of the backboard and the shot clock. It's, I believe, a turnover on the shot by Wright Foreman, who's having an off night. As I mentioned, he shoots over 50% and averages 21 so far. Wright Foreman on the evening only has 2 points. Eubanks back to the basket, guarded by Brantley. Into the paint, his right-hand shot wide left. He was looking for the foul, doesn't get it. Brantley saves it from going out of bounds and takes it into the front court himself. Wright Foreman. Bounce pass underneath to Brantley. Brantley couldn't get it, but then out to Blewett. Blewett's driving to the rim and gets the foul. Count the bucket. Farrell gets whistled for the personal. That's his second personal foul, the second team foul. Lawson will check into the game for Drew Eubanks. Another with that foul there. Farrell kind of complained, and I sort of see his point, but there was a lot of contact there. Blewett will go to the line, try and shoot a 1-point free throw as substitutions are made. Salt Lake City can tie it up here. Jeff Ledbetter in for Kenny Williams. And we have a tie ball game. 7:30 left to play in the third. Quindary Weatherspoon in the front court, guarded by Collinsworth. Metu between the jump circles. Hands it off to Farrell on the wing. Ledbetter, right midcourt, uses the Lawson screen, tries to get it to Lawson, roll into the basket. It's a turnover on the Spurs as Collinsworth picks it up. And then the other way, Jeff Ledbetter gets the steal. So back-to-back turnovers leads to an Austin possession. Weatherspoon straight away. Steps into a mid-range jumper. Off the back of the rim and rebounded by Collinsworth. Wright Foreman to the rim, finger roll off the glass and in. Only his second field goal, he has 4. Weatherspoon kills his dribble, looking for some help. Metu gets it, and he's fouled by Brantley, who's going for the steal. And that will be a timeout on the floor. 59-57, a 2-point lead for Salt Lake City, their largest lead of the game. They've erased a 19-point Spurs lead. We'll be back with more on Twitch.
The basketball world has been turned upside down.
Oh, do you believe that one?
Now, it's anyone's game. Some are looking to make a memorable entrance.
Irving puts it up. It's good.
Others want to prove they never left.
Seattle. It's good.
And everyone has a chance to reach new heights. The time has finally come to see who will rise.
Finishes ferociously.
Watch the NBA Live.
This league was built to break. Built to break new ground. Break molds. And shatter expectations. Built to break the idea of what it means to grow. And to change. Change minds. Change the game. This league was built to break.
.636 left to play in the third quarter, and Salt Lake City has opened up their largest lead of the game at 2. 59-57, the Spurs trying to tie this ball game up or retake the lead. Jeff Ledbetter, Matt Farrell, Dietrich Lawson, Shmezi Metu, and Quindary Weatherspoon, the 5 on the court. As you get to see some highlights here of the second half to this point. Collinsworth, Wright, Foreman, Howard, Pryor, and Brantley, the 5 on the court for Salt Lake City. Metu, right elbow jumper is good. Spurs tied up at 59. Wright, Foreman gives it up to Pryor here. Pryor surveys the court, bounce pass to Brantley. Hands it off to Wright, Foreman. Trying to screen by Brantley. He's hedged on by Lawson, and out to the left of the key. A Howard 3 off the mark. Rebound tipped out to by Brantley to Pryor. Pryor's 3 doesn't go, and Metu clears the defensive board. Spurs can retake the lead here. Ledbetter spins to the block. Metu at the top of the key. Down the left lane line. Left-hand runner doesn't go. Offensive rebound by Lawson, and he gets his follow in for 2 points. Spurs retake the lead 61-59. Dietrich Lawson with 15 points. His first 2 of the second half right there. Wright Foreman's 3 off the inside of the rim. It's been a rough night for the leading scorer for the Stars. Brantley gets the offensive rebound, though. 10 seconds to shoot for Wright Foreman. Guarded by Lawson into the paint. Shot high off the back of the rim, doesn't go. Shmezi Metu back to the basket against Collinsworth, and Kyle Collinsworth knocks it out of Metu's hands. Spurs retain possession with 13 seconds to shoot. 5:01 to play in the third quarter. A couple substitutions as Ledbetter comes in for Farrell, and Collinsworth exits the game for Isaac Haas. Tevin King also in the game for the Spurs around a Lawson screen. He takes it to the rim and can't finish at the bucket. Rebounded by Haas. Wright Foreman crosses over King. Lobs it to the rim, and it's stolen away by Metu. Outlet pass to Ledbetter. Ledbetter trying to run, and he'll pull up and then find Lawson in the middle of the paint. His floater is good. Dietrich Lawson has 17 points on the ball game. The Spurs now lead it by 4 after trailing by 2 coming into the shift. Spurs on this 6-0 run. Wright Foreman trying to end it, guarded by King. King a tough defender. Wright Foreman takes him to the paint and gets the shot in. King down the left sideline. Dietrich Lawson spins into the paint. Puts a shot up, no good. Metu's follow, no good. Metu's offensive rebound on the third try. That's not the charm. Haas clears the rebound. Here's Brantley pushing the break down the left lane line. And a foul called there, and he'll go to the line to shoot a 2-point free throw. Foul goes against Tevin King. For King, that's his 3rd personal foul and the 3rd team foul. I guess that was not considered in the act of shooting. Must have been on the floor, so Spurs dodge a bullet there. Mike Scott in the game, kicks it out to Brantley. Right wing 3 is good, and instead of it being a 2-point free throw, Brantley makes it a 3-point play, and Salt Lake City regains the lead 64-63. Weatherspoon. Left to the key. It's Metu. Wide pass to Ledbetter. Ledbetter gets Brantley off his feet, but then he steps on the sideline trying to get to the corner three, and that's a turnover on the Spurs. Turnover number 13 on the Spurs, but only 5 points scored off of those previous 12 turnovers. Salt Lake City not taking advantage of the Spurs' miscues. Pryor has his pass deflected out of bounds as he tried to go to the corner. Trying to sub in here for Salt Lake City was Ben Levy, but he'll have to go to the bench. Didn't get to the scorer's table in time. Haas catches on the lob at the free throw line. Mike Scott, right wing three, yes. 67-63, the Spurs trail by 4. Weatherspoon, Randall Austin screen. Picked up hard on the hedge by Brantley. Had the ball knocked away from him by Brantley. Weatherspoon doing his Curly Neal impersonation. Behind the back to Metu. A nice Harlem Globetrotter-like play there by Weatherspoon to keep the possession alive. 4 seconds to shoot. Weatherspoon tries a three. Off the inside of the rim. Hoskins the rebound. Brantley into the paint. Howard running on the break. Gets the layup. He filled the lane correctly for Brantley to give him the bucket, and Brantley gets the assist. Weatherspoon around a Lawson screen. Metu open for 3 on the wing. Rebound grab by Howard. Brantley into the front court. Crosses over Lawson into the paint. He lost the handle of the ball. It's stolen away by Lawson. Ledbetter wants to push the break. Bounce pass ahead to King. King at the rim. Draws contact. Doesn't get the shot to go, but Lawson's there to clean it up. Dedrick Lawson having a stellar game. He has 19 points. He averages 13. Mike Scott. Here's Pryor. Isaac Haas working the dribble to the left elbow. Mike Scott curling around the handoff. Brantley looking for space, finds Howard on the wing for 3, and it's raining threes here for Salt Lake City as Howard tacks on 3 more to his total. He's got 19, then a foul by Scott as King tried to make a move to the basket. Will send us into a timeout on the floor. And with 1:41 left to play in the third, it's 72-65. Salt Lake City leads the Austin Spurs, and now Alan Cepeda is going to be joined by Spurs Sports and Entertainment CEO R.C. Buford. So, Alan, why don't you go ahead and take over?
All right, we're now joined by San Antonio Spurs CEO R.C. Buford. R.C., welcome to Austin. With the amount of culture that you guys have in San Antonio and the two-way players, how do you make sure that culture is brought up here to Austin?
Well, it's not just about the two-way players. It's about the entire program and our assignment guys and the coaches. And we hope to have this as a developmental platform for everybody that comes through here from a player standpoint, from a business standpoint, from a training and coaching standpoint. So it's really important that professionalism, the culture that we're trying to develop gets carried through.
You guys are no secret of success with the foreign players. What have you seen, and what can fans get excited about first-round pick Luka Samanic?
I think we don't look at players as foreign players or domestic players. We look at players as basketball players, and I think Luka's size and his skill is something that you can get excited about. He's got to get tighter with his game. He's got to get stronger. He's got to get more purposeful, and that's what the opportunity in Austin is built around.
Thanks so much for taking the time to join us, RC.
Thank you, Alan.
Back to you, Carl.
Thank you, Alan. Always great to hear from R.C. Buford, one of the greatest basketball minds in recent basketball history, probably basketball history in general, obviously, as the Spurs, their success in the basketball world goes well documented. 72-65 here on the court. Salt Lake City leads the Austin Spurs. It'll be Quindary Weatherspoon inbounding it for the Spurs as they try to work from this 7-point deficit. Kelton Johnson back in the game. Shamanic around the Eubanks screen. And pass deflected out of bounds, meant for King, and 4.2 seconds left on the shot clock for Austin. Weatherspoon will inbound in front of the Stars bench. And he has his pass deflected out of bounds by Pryor. Pryor runs into our referee, Tyler Ricks, and just good hustle right there. The Spurs lose 0.7 of a second. They have 3.5 on the shot clock. Weatherspoon will inbound. King gets it at the break. He has the ball knocked away from him again by Mike Scott. And man, this is kind of fun here. 1.1 second left on the shot clock. Spurs are going to have to do a catch and shoot now. Weatherspoon will again inbound in front of the Salt Lake City Stars bench. Johnson will try a three. Can't get it to go. Salt Lake City looking to build on a 7-point lead. The runner in the lane is good for Howard, and he leads all scorers with 21 points. Tevin King directing traffic. At the jump circle, it's Weatherspoon around a Eubank screen, picked up in the switch by Haas. Bounce pass to the left corner, King. Top key Shaman, and she lets the three fly. Rattles out on him, rebounded by Haas. Spurs find themselves down by 9, and the Stars can create their first double-digit lead, but a moving screen by Haas is a turnover on the Stars, and the Spurs can avoid that double-digit deficit for the moment. So Haas picked up his first personal, and that's a turnover on the Stars. Eubanks hands it off to Keldon Johnson. Johnson working against Pryor, couldn't penetrate, gives it up to Shamanich. Weatherspoon had a quick trap, killed his dribble, bounce pass to Shamanich on the block. Shamanich with a nice hook shot over his left shoulder. Shot clock turned off here for Salt Lake City as the Spurs were able to cut it to 7. Mike Scott will hold things up here. He'll wait for a high screen. Haas will set a cross screen, and then he'll set the high screen on King. Step back three by Scott. Yes. Mike Scott makes it a 10-point lead. The prayer at the end of the third quarter, no good, and we go into the fourth quarter with Salt Lake City ahead by 10, their largest lead of the evening. It's been a back-and-forth ball game so far, and we're going to have an exciting conclusion on Twitch when we come back.
Wow, it's just like a picture.
Yippee-ki-yay, retired friend. We got coyote roping.
Come on, coyote. Come on, you varmint.
We also have goat yoga. And that's the chips and guac pose.
Wow, looks delicious.
And finally, the Spurs Chug Wagon with all the best HEB Primo picks.
Wow.
Nice chops, Bruce. Thanks, TP. I made you a natural ribeye, shrimp poppers, and all the fixings.
Nice.
May I present to you your ATV?
The all-Tony vehicle.
Man, Timmy, you made that just for me?
Just for you, buddy.
I love it here.
HEB Primo Picks. Legendary Texas taste for legendary gatherings.
Hey, where's David?
Practicing his axe throwing.
I'm having the game of my life, and you're missing it? That last one was for you.
We're back here. It's the start of the fourth quarter. The Austin Spurs find themselves down 10, 77-67. The Salt Lake City Stars trying to keep a 3-game winning streak alive. The Spurs trying to keep a 2-game winning streak alive. There you go ahead and see the difference. It's been a 3-point differential. They're in the third quarter, it was a big three-point difference as being able to knock down 6 threes were the Salt Lake City Stars, and the Austin Spurs didn't hit a three at all in that third quarter, so that plays a big part in the deficit that we see. Those 6 three-pointers made by Salt Lake City helping them with this 10-point advantage over the Spurs. Spurs have the first possession out of the break between quarters. Keldon Johnson trapped on the baseline, finds Farrell on the wing. 4 seconds to shoot for Quindary Weatherspoon as he passes it up for Šamanić, and Šamanić can't get a shot off. Turnover on the Spurs. That is their 14th on the game. Coming into the fourth quarter, we were tied at turnovers with 13. Spurs' first possession is a turnover, though, on the shot clock violation. Salt Lake City's first possession of the fourth quarter. Mike Scott out there with Isaac Koss, Ben Levy, Pryor, and Collinsworth also out there for Salt Lake City. Scott working to dribble against Šamanić, drives into the paint. His floater over Šamanić's defense, no good. Rebounded by Eubanks. Farrell working the dribble in the front court. Hands it off to Johnson. Johnson at the free throw line looking to free up. Finds Šamanić right at the key, who drives down the right lane line. Kicks it to Keldon Johnson. He lets a three fly off the mark, and getting the rebound is Brantley. Pushing the break has been Levy, I beg your pardon. Ben Levy draws the foul. He'll go to the line to shoot a 2-point free throw. Ben Levy trying to get around Šamanić there. He makes a 2-point free throw, a rule change I really like in the G League this year, where free throws are worth their value in what the foul shot is, so no longer where there'll be 2 free throws per a missed or fouled field goal attempt, or 3, 1 for everything, until the final 2 minutes of this quarter, the fourth. Weatherspoon passes out of the jump shot. Eubanks finds Johnson. Johnson has to put a shot clock buzzing shot and can't get it to go, and here comes the Stars the other way. Collinsworth has the ball stolen away from him by Johnson, and a loose ball foul on Kyle Collinsworth. He's saying that he had the forearm knocked out, but not what our crew chief Robert Hussey saw, and the Spurs will get possession on the hustle by Keldon Johnson. Kenny Williams into the game for Quindary Weatherspoon. Blewett trying to check in here, and he's given the okay. Sometimes he's not allowed if he didn't get to the scorer's table in time. He tags out Pryor. Austin Spurs trailing by 12, trying to get a run going. Popping out is Farrell around a Eubanks screen. Lobs to Eubanks. Eubanks is fouled on the dunk attempt. Haas picks up the personal. That's his second. Salt Lake City's second team foul. Here's another look at it, as Eubanks can elevate. That little shoulder brush from Haas, the difference on Eubanks finishing that slam. But Eubanks gets the 2-point free throw, and the Stars lead is 10. Blewett bounce pass into the front court for Scott around a Haas screen. Left wing 3 is left short. Long rebound chased down by Farrell. Farrell will hold up as he doesn't have numbers. Eubanks finds Williams on the cross-court pass, and Williams knocks down the 3. Kenny Williams, a captain on North Carolina last year. Shot 30% from deep in college and goes ahead and puts the Spurs back in a single-digit deficit. Scott kills his dribble, looking for a pass. Collinsworth will look for an entry pass here to Haas, and Ben Johnson deflected the pass out of bounds. Plays with a lot of passion, throws the ball onto the scorer's table with some anger, and luckily didn't break a laptop that was nearby. Jeff Ledbetter checks in for Keldon Johnson. 6 seconds to shoot here for the Stars. Collinsworth searching for a pass on the side out, gets it to Scott around a Haas screen. Scott pulls up the dribble, finds Collinsworth at the break for 3, and Collinsworth knocks down the jumper. Back to a 10-point lead for the Stars. Shamanich. Kenny Williams going away from Eubank's screen, finds Ledbetter in the corner, swing past to Shamanich for three, off the mark. Haas, the space eater, gets the rebound. Scott around a Haas screen here, picked up on a switch by Eubanks, lobs it to the rim, and his floater is good. Wasn't sure if that was a pass for Haas, but it was too on target to be a pass for Haas, who was rolling to the basket, and the lead is 12 for the Stars. Farrell lets a three fly off the mark, and Haas with the board. Scott around a Haas screen, Farrell still hounding him. The three wide left there by Ben Levy, but the offensive rebound by Stars, and then a moving screen called on Collinsworth. That's his second turnover on a foul here in the fourth quarter. Kyle Collinsworth, the 3-year G League vet, 5 points on the game. 2 turnovers here in the fourth quarter, and the Spurs have to capitalize. 8:21 left in the fourth, and they're running out of time, but you can get points up in a hurry in this league. Ledbetter, bounce pass to Chimezi Metu. Kenny Williams will try a three. He just knocked one down from there, and he hits another three here in the fourth as the Spurs looking for some offense. They only had 5 threes entering this fourth quarter. They have 2 from Williams here in the fourth. And then a foul on Ledbetter as he was playing too tightly on Trayvon Blewett. Ledbetter picks up his second personal foul, second team foul on the Spurs. Blue will inbound on the side out as Burton comes into the game for Mike Scott. So Deontay Burton usually operates point guard when he's in the game. Brantley couldn't handle the pass on the inbounds from Blewett. It's a turnover on the Stars. They're leaving the door open for Austin here to make a run. Spurs have cut it to 9. Metu at the jump circle. Williams finds Lawson at the free throw line. Ledbetter's three. Yes! Spurs knock down their third three of the fourth quarter, and they've cut the Salt Lake City lead to 6. Brantley has it right of the key. Guarded by Metu. Burton with 4 seconds to shoot, guarded by Farrell. Sizes it up and tries a three. That's wide left, an air ball and a shot clock violation. Another turnover on Salt Lake City, and the Spurs, who have cut it to 6 after trailing by 10 to enter the quarter, are looking to potentially make it a one-possession game. Burton will guard Farrell the length of the court. Farrell has his pass deflected away from him, stolen by Burton. Burton lays it up, no good, but a foul is called on Metu, who was trying to commit the wrap-up foul. Got his fingertips on the back. Let's see if we can get another look at that, as that was a tough whistle that was called after the free throw. But also, when you're being touched as a player elevating, that's always going to adjust your shot a little bit. It's hard to see from that angle, but from my angle, it was fingertips. And sometimes fingertips do affect a layup like that, but I think the fans here are not a fan of the soft call by the officials, and the 2-point free throw is off the mark. The offensive rebound grabbed by Howard, though, and then a whistle stops play, and the shot clock did not start. Let's see if we can see that foul on Metu again, as this one will be a little closer. And yeah, you can just kind of see if he got a fingertip on him, it doesn't really affect it that much. Here's Burton trying to bully his way to the basket, and he's called for the travel. So at the end of it all, that possession results in another Salt Lake City Stars turnover. Spurs trailing by 6 with 7:02 to play in the fourth, looking to keep this 2-game winning streak alive. Farrell gets into the front court. Metu operating the dribble. Lawson have it straight away. Farrell popping out, gets the handoff from Lawson, loses the handle, but he was fouled, and That'll be the third team foul on Salt Lake City. Actually, beg your pardon, didn't see what happened, but it looks like this will be a timeout on the floor. So we'll get the result of that whistle when we come back. I thought it was a foul, but we'll find out. With 6:48 left to play in the fourth, it's the Salt Lake City Stars leading the Austin Spurs 84-78.
The basketball world has been turned upside down.
Oh, do you believe that one?
Now, it's anyone's game. Some are looking to make a memorable entrance.
Irving puts it up.
Others want to prove they never left.
Seattle.
And everyone has a chance to reach new heights. The time has finally come to see who will rise.
Finishes ferociously.
Watch the NBA Live.
You are giving back by using the hashtag NBA Cares. To learn more, visit cares.nba.com. And, you know, that's going to be something that you hear us mention a lot on these Austin Spurs broadcasts over the week, as this is the week of caring. And today, obviously, will be community night, where the team honors local organizations that make the community a better place. Tomorrow against the Lakeland Magic, it's food drive night, where fans will have the opportunity to donate 2 canned goods in exchange for 1 game ticket to benefit the Central Texas Food Bank. And then on Friday, the team will play the South Bay Lakers at 7:30 for Black Friday, and all fans in attendance are encouraged to wear black and bring a toy donation for the team's NBA G League season of giving activities in December there, as the Spurs have now cut to 4. Salt Lake City had a 10-point lead entering the fourth quarter, looking to build on a 4-point lead at the moment. The Spurs have cut it down to. Here's a Howard 3, and Howard has been hard to stop as he leads all scorers. William Howard now has 24 points and 5th three-pointer on the game. City, a relatively quiet night for the leading scorer for the Stars. He only has 6. Williams will inbound on the side out, gets it in time to Farrell. Farrell guarded by Wright Foreman. Protects his dribbles. He watches Ledbetter around on the floppy action. Instead gives it up to Metu. Metu in the paint. Gets the shot to fall in the lane. Wright Foreman barks out a play from the jump circles. High screen step by Howard. Using that screen is Wright Foreman, picking up a switch by Metu. Howard swings it to Blewett. Blewett guarded tightly by Ledbetter. Howard has a post up against the smaller Farrell. Wright Foreman spins into a jump shot at the end of the shot clock. He knocks down the long 2. That's his 8th point, and told you he might heat up a little bit, as he averages 21 but only had 6 before that. And the other way, Matt Farrell gets the finger roll for the points. Wright Foreman gives it up to Howard. Blewett trying to shake free of Ledbetter, can't. And here's Wright Foreman sizing up against Farrell. His long 2, yes. Back-to-back buckets. And Justin Wright Foreman gets into double figures. He has 10. Diedrich Lawson swings it over to Ledbetter on the right wing. Metsu straight away, directs traffic. Hands it off to Farrell. Farrell with 8 to shoot. Sizing up against Wright Foreman, takes it down the left lane line. He was cut off on the block, gives up to Kenny Williams, who tries a 3 from the corner. Off the mark, Williams chases down his own miss, saves it to Metsu. Underneath to Lawson, who lays it in. Diedrich Lawson with 19 points. Stars get it across just in time, as Martin Schiller had to remind his team of the 8-second count. Wright Foreman dealing with chance of defense from the Austin crowd. His three straight away is good and goes threes to the head as he forces Blake Ahern to call a timeout. He heats up and he has 7 straight points for Salt Lake City. We're going to take a break. 4:01 left to play in the fourth. Don't go anywhere. 94-86. Stars with the lead.
The basketball world has been turned upside down.
Oh, do you believe that one?
Now it's anyone's game. Some are looking to make a memorable entrance.
Irving puts it up. It's good.
Others want to prove they never left.
Seattle. It's good.
And everyone has a chance to reach new heights. Oh. The time has finally come to see who will rise.
Finishes ferociously.
Watch the NBA Live.
4:01 left to play in the fourth quarter, and the Austin Spurs trying to make a comeback against the Salt Lake City Stars. It's an 8-point deficit at the moment. Here's a look at a nice teamwork play as the Spurs were able to get Metu to Lawson off of the offensive rebound. Kenny Williams missed the three, but he had the hustle for the offensive board, and that is one of the prettier plays you'll see in basketball. But it's Justin Wright Foreman show at the moment as he has 13 points. And he's really created this separation when the Spurs were able to cut it to 4 earlier in the fourth. Johnson operating the dribble against Kyle Collinsworth. Johnson will have to hurry up and get it across, and does to King. Lawson tries a three. Off the mark, it hit every part of the rim and then bounced on it again, but Lawson had hit 3 of 4 before that. Brantley hands it off here. Wright Foreman sizing up against King. Spins away from King's pressure to the block, a floater off the mark. Rebound grabbed by King, stole it away from Metu. King takes it to the front court himself. Hands it off to Johnson. Johnson thought on the three. Instead, he'll size up against Collinsworth, spin into the paint. His finger roll around the rim and in. Keldon Johnson gets into double figures with that bucket. He has 10, and a timeout by Martin Schiller, who doesn't like the way his team is looking. 3:05 left to play in the fourth. It's 94-88. We'll take a break and be back in a moment on Twitch. .05 left to play in the fourth. A quick timeout here as Martin Schiller, the coach of the Salt Lake City Stars from Vienna, Austria, just wanted to make sure his team didn't get complacent. The Spurs can put up points in a hurry. And no lead is safe here in the G League, especially a 6-point lead with 3:05 to play. Stars want to score a bucket here. Wright Foreman almost gets away with the travel as he takes it into the front court. Collinsworth works the dribble, being hounded by Lawson. He loses the dribble out of bounds. Last touch by Collinsworth. He thought Lawson knocked it away. Not what our crew chief, Robert Hussey, saw on the opposite side of the court. And that'll be a turnover on Salt Lake City. They're 19th. The Spurs have scored 29 points on the previous 18 Salt Lake City Star turnovers. Keldon Johnson guarded tightly by Collinsworth. Finds the free throw line Williams. Lawson at the block. Power dribble to the bucket, and he gets it to go for 2. Spurs cut the lead to 4. They've been here before in the fourth, trying to get over that hump. Wright Foreman in the front court. Gets a horns set. Goes around a Brantley screen. Wants Blue to set a screen. Goes away from that. Takes it to the left block. Just gets the shot to go over the defense of Johnson, who came over for help. That's 15 points for Wright Foreman, who's locked in after a slow start to this game through 3 quarters. Into the paint, it's Johnson. Johnson has his shot blocked by Collinsworth. Recovered by Howard. Ahead to Wright Foreman, and Wright Foreman has his shot blocked by Kenny Williams, but a foul is called, and the foul will go against Williams, who got a lot of ball on that shot, and a two-point free throw will be coming up here for Justin Wright-Foreman. In about 6 seconds, that rule will go away, and it'll be 1-point free throws every time at the line, like the traditional rule. But for the time being, Wright-Foreman trying to build on his stellar fourth quarter. He does, and he's up to 17. Entering this quarter, Wright-Foreman only had 6, so he has 11 points in the fourth quarter. He averages 21, so doing his James Silas impersonation, Captain Late. The runner doesn't go for Johnson, but Metu has underneath on the loose ball. Metu has his first shot blocked. He was fouled the second time by Collinsworth, who raises his hand, and a good foul there by Collinsworth. And now the rule reverts to the traditional rule. Metu will get 2 shots at the line. Another look at that as Metu almost boomed it down, didn't quite get enough air underneath him, and then a forearm foul there by Collinsworth sends Metu to the line. Chimezie Metu on assignment from the Spurs with 12 points in the game today. Leaves the first free throw short. Metu came off the bench today, but he's played 27 minutes coming into the shift. Misses both free throws. Rebound batted in the air by Collinsworth and grabbed by Brantley. Salt Lake City can make it a double-digit lead here with a field goal. And a screen by Blewett on the horn set. Wright-Foreman sizing up against King. Blewett takes it to the corner against Williams, drives baseline, reverse layup is short, rebounded by Metu. Spurs got to work in a hurry here. Kenny Williams on the wing. Metu, pump fakes on a 3, Williams will get it. Metu in the paint. Tried to draw the contact, gets the shot to go. He wanted an and one, but the Spurs will have to play pretty good defense here, trailing by 6 with a minute 10. Wright-Foreman draws a defender in Johnson, and Kevin King will have to rotate to Collinsworth in the corner, and then Brantley will be fouled on his way to the rim. A little bit of a different hand motion there by Hussey as he kind of pushed his hand out to say that it was a foul, but he says it was in the act of shooting. So 2 free throws coming up here for Brantley, who has had a pretty good game too. Fans don't like the replay as they thought it was an offensive foul, and I think Blake Ahern's challenging this, so we're going to look at it. Spurs using a timeout on a very critical possession to see whether or not this is an offensive foul or it'll remain a defensive foul as called on the court. The crew will get together and they'll get it ready to go. Very critical call here as a turnover against Salt Lake City with 6 points on the lead would mean that the Spurs in a 2-possession ball game will get the ball back. They'd have to work quickly, of course. But the officials looking at it, here it is from our angle, as Williams was outside the semicircle, but still moving, and I think this will remain a defensive foul as Brantley was driving to the rim. The Spurs are over the limit, so even if they determine that it isn't in the act of shooting during this replay, here's probably the best angle we're going to get, although the other angle is pretty good. He was already in his gather, Brantley was. We'll have to see here as, you know, right there, it's hard. Williams takes shoulder contact into the chest. And we'll have our crew talk things over as we are happy to announce that today's attendance was 1,890 at the HEB Center at Cedar Park. Been a good ball game between these two teams. One more angle here as we get the David Johnson baseline angle. And it's a hard one to call because Brantley does lower his shoulder a bit, but also at the same time, Williams trying to shuffle over into position. It'll really come down to frame-by-frame decision on whether or not Williams was in position to take the charge. Our crew chief, Robert Hussey, taking a long look at it with our umpire, Julian Scott, as Blake Ahern is going to inform his team of how to handle the final minute and second left. Now Tyler Ricks joins the conversation. The three of them will communicate what they think is happening. The call will stand and Brantley will shoot 2 free throws. Spurs lose the timeout and the challenge, but a challenge well used there on a 50-50 call. Blake Ahern arguing his point to Tyler Ricks in the huddle, but that's not going to change the decision. And now free throws coming up for Brantley. Spurs fans, all 1,890 of them, can help out the Spurs here by getting into Brantley's ears. 2-shot trip. Brantley makes the first of 2. Brantley entered the game as an 83% free throw shooter. He hits the second free throw as Blake Ahern, I believe, picked up a technical foul. So I don't know if they're going to count that second free throw. Brantley wants to shoot the free throw, but I guess Wright Foreman is the designated free throw shooter. And Blake Ahern still arguing his point here to crew chief Robert Hussey. So Wright Foreman gets the technical free throw. It's off the mark, and he's mad because he's had a stellar fourth quarter in which he scored 11 points. He can't add on to it here. And that previous free throw by Brantley does not count, so he's shooting for point number 100 right here. It's short, and the rebound on the floor grabbed by Metu. Spurs have to play perfect down the stretch. King gives it up to Lawson. Williams tried to Lawson roll into the bucket a little ahead of him, and then the turnover here the other way. It's Blewett laying it up and in. And the Stars crack the century mark. 45 seconds left, trailing by 9. The Spurs try to operate quickly. Shovel pass here to Johnson. Johnson down the right lane line, gets the layup. 35 seconds left here. Spurs are going to try and force a turnover with some full court pressure. And a foul called, and that goes against Wright Foreman. So an offensive foul is a turnover on Salt Lake City as Tevin King pestered him enough to get the ball back. Blake Griffin will call out from the bench what he wants the Spurs to run. A side out here for Williams. Spurs trailing by 7. Johnson straight away, guarded by Collinsworth. He's got to work quickly. Attacks a floater around the rim and in for Keldon Johnson. And a timeout called by Martin Schiller. He didn't want the Spurs to get another turnover and make this one interesting. It is interesting at the moment. 30 seconds left to play in the fourth. We'll keep it right here as the Spurs find themselves trailing 101-96. They were able to cut it to 4 a couple times during this fourth quarter, but a big part of keeping the Spurs at arm's length, Justin Wright Foreman with a 17-point fourth quarter. Here's a look at some highlights as Mezi Metu on assignment for the Spurs helps out. The Spurs trying to make this comeback. They trailed by 10 entering this quarter, and now only down by 5. The Spurs trying to make something happen here. Martin Schiller wants the ball to be advanced into the front court. He has to correct the officials who were originally going to give him the inbound in the backcourt. Collinsworth will walk the sideline here with Tyler Ricks. 14 seconds on the shot clock because of the advancement. I don't think the Spurs are going to play the fouling game. They're going to try and get a turnover and play defense here. Collinsworth inbounds into the corner. King tightly guarded and committing the foul against Blewett. So they will play the fouling game here. Only a second comes off of the game clock. Blewett will have to go to the line for the free throws. Trayvon Blewett, an 83% free throw shooter on the season. Will shoot 2 as the first one spins in for him. Only his 7th and 8th free throw attempts on the season. And he makes both. King into the front court. Williams tries a 3 from the break. Doesn't go. Offensive rebound by Johnson. His shot is good and a foul. Spurs get a 3-point play the old-fashioned way if Johnson can knock down the free throw. Kelton Johnson getting the offensive board. He has a nose for that rebound and draws the contact, completes the field goal, and a 90% free throw shooter entering the game at the line here. Could potentially cut it to 4, and he leaves that one short. And then rebounded by Brantley. Brantley was fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2 free throws. Lawson picks up his 3rd personal foul. Brantley at the line. Misses the first of 2. And it's still a 2-possession game either way. The Spurs would have to play near perfect with no timeouts left. So Brantley missed an opportunity to make it a 3-possession game. Goes ahead and makes it a 6-point ball game. Kelton Johnson will let this one roll down the sidelines before he pushes it to the left wing. Tries a 3 from there, and that's off the mark. Rebounded by Howard. Nobody will foul Howard here as he takes it to the front court. A trap drawn by Howard, and then he gives it up, and that'll be the final buzzer of the ball game. Spurs 2-game winning streak is snapped. The Salt Lake City Stars extended their winning streak to 4 as they start their Texas road trip off on the right note. Your final score from the HEB Center at Cedar Park, the Salt Lake City Stars 104, the Austin Spurs 98. I want to thank Alan Zepeda for doing sidelines today, our director Robert Calder, and the rest of the Zodiac Sports crew. A big thank you to R.C. Buford for joining us on the interview. And thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of Austin Spurs and Salt Lake City Stars basketball on Twitch. We'll see y'all next time. The next game for the Spurs tomorrow night, 7:30 against the Lakeland Magic. And for the visiting Salt Lake City Stars, their next game will be at Rio Grande Valley. That's a 6 p.m. start on the 26th. Thank you guys again for tuning into Twitch. Once again, your final score of the Salt Lake City Stars improving to 4-2, 104 to the Austin Spurs, who fall to 2-4, 98. Good night, everybody.